All right. Remember, like a couple days ago, it feels like we were really worried about concentration risk, and then we just got all these announcements about data centers and deals between NVIDIA and OpenAI and AMD and OpenAI. Should we still be worried about concentration risk, or is AI in this trade so powerful that it's something that, well, we should keep in mind, but just keep investing?
Over the long run, look, this is a classic CapEx cycle, and most of these CapEx cycles end poorly with a bear market, in some cases, a recession. If the rest of the economy isn't doing well enough, that could be the case. But for now, the message for the market is one where the trend is your friend and the trend is higher. Actually, most stocks are up. Most stocks are above their 50-day, 200-day moving averages. Over 70% of stocks are sub-industries are in uptrends. And if you look at cases like this year, where you've had a 10% correction, and then it's followed by the S&P being up at least 10% Q3, the fourth quarter has been up 9 out of 9 times by an average of over 7%. So the message for now is positive, but of course we have to keep in mind that good news doesn't go on forever, and we need to keep an eye on what's going on in the AI universe.
You know, Ed, to that point, yesterday right here on CNBC, we heard from Paul Tudor Jones. I want to play the soundbite and kind of get your take on what he had to say.
If you don't play it, right, you're missing out on the juice. If you do play it, you have to have really happy feet, because there will be a really, really bad end to it. And my guess is that I think all the ingredients are in place for some kind of a blow-off. Will it happen? Again, history rhymes a lot, so I would think some version of it is going to happen again. Right. If anything now is so much more potentially explosive than 1999.
All right, I'm going to kind of summarize it. It sounds like he's saying basically you got to stay nimble as an investor, looking for where this might, quote unquote, bubble could potentially burst, what a lot of people think is a bubble. Do you agree with that idea? But at the same time, aren't some stocks going to be winners even if there's some bubble-ish tendencies in this market?
It's always a bull market somewhere, and like I agree with Paul's sentiment that you have to play what's working as an investor. And look, these companies, many of them are so big and they have such strong cash flow. This could possibly go on for much longer than what's happened previously in previous bubble cycles. So you have to be ready for that aspect of it. On the other side, even in say 2000, from the March 2000 high to the October '02 low, the Russell 2000 Value Index was down 5%. The S&P was down almost 50%. So once the rotation happens out of these names, there probably will be other places in the market for investors to focus on. But for now, it seems pretty clear where the economic growth engine is, where the investment is flowing into, is into the mega cap tech names.
All right. Outside of equities, are you seeing opportunities anywhere else, whether it be gold, Bitcoin, oil? What are the parts of the market? Because, I mean, we got to keep in mind the major indices are trading pretty close or at their all-time high. So I think a lot of investors are looking for opportunities elsewhere. Are you seeing opportunities anywhere else?
Gold has been one of our favorites. The reason for that is that the government and the Treasury Department, for the first time since before Robert Rubin was Treasury Secretary, has a very strong stated policy of wanting a weaker dollar to boost the manufacturing sector. And where else are you going to go for other fiat currencies, a lot of them in worse scenarios than the U.S. dollar? So gold, being the world's oldest currency, seems to be a place for investors to hide. And that certainly we're on one of the best runs in the last few decades for gold. I think it's the best year since 1979 year to date. So that's one place to focus on. We do like Bitcoin. Obviously, it's a lot more speculative, but that's another alternative to fiat currencies.